So,
I got
how important is it to the three of you? How important is a committed, long-term, loving, meaningful, lasting relationship to you guys at this point in life?
That's what you're looking for. I mean, every man is looking for a long-term relationship.
Oh, yeah?
Especially when you get a certain age, you know, it just...
Our age.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Especially when you get a certain age, you know, when you were younger, you know, you was out there, you know. You thought you could conquer the world, but now you're older, man. You just trying to get someone to sit down and get a little sense about yourself, you know.
Okay.
I think he's right, but with conditions. You know, I think we want someone, but we want the right someone because now it's a
Yeah.
golden time.
Right.
People do stuff for different reasons, and this is one of the things I'm having to juggle. Why do you want me? I'm not the spark I used to be, and all of a sudden I'm the great guy. We just start thinking differently. But I do think as we grow older, we start to fully understand that you can be an asset, that you can actually help me. And then sometimes you've gotten so set in your ways that where you put the bread, it ain't there any longer. And where you put the soap, it's gone. What the hell am I doing that for? So now it's kind of with strings, if you will, that we want to be in that relationship. I think we found out as we get older, it ain't all about the sex part that we do. We can have a relationship with a female and it be wholesome. So yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that,
Yeah.
but with the understanding why are we doing that?
Okay.
At first, I just want to say how happy I am to have been a part of four other male brains at this intellect and willing to be this open. This has been absolutely wonderful for me. But at 60 and a little more, I'm still all I used to be. Doc.
I feel you. Well, I wish I was.
It's a sad frog can't praise his own pond.
Say that.
That, you know, a sad dog can't wag his own tail. Y'all can write these down so y'all don't forget when you get out here. But the point is, it's way too late in my life to be juggling multiple women dating.
Yeah.
Way too late. The thing is, I also don't want to be committing too soon into a relationship. So it's an intricate balance of both things. I don't want to be so into a lady that she thinks more than I mean too soon.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
So if I pull back, I don't want to come out and worry about whether my tire's been punctured or my window's been broken out because of it. But yeah, this is
definitely a possibility.
nowadays.
That is definitely a possibility.
Nowadays.
Come on now. Okay. So.
Girl sung a song about it.
So somebody talked about. I want to say it was you. You just kind of threw it in there, interjected that Mars versus Venus thing. Let me tell you what I have learned, and I have done some research, I would say, for the lack of a better word, without even realizing that I've done the research, in that I brought in a group of women and asked them some very similar questions that I've asked you guys. And I brought you in and asked you pretty much the same questions. And what I have found is really there is so much disconnect and so much misunderstanding.
There's no comprehension
between men and women, because I feel like if a man didn't have to be so fearful or skeptical about if I were to just put my emotions out there up front and just be real with how I feel about this woman that is before me, and he were to do that with the woman that's really for him too, like this great. So I'm feeling like these people that have made these wonderful connections, I feel like that's what happened. Two people were willing to just be transparent about what they thought of each other, how they felt about each other, and they didn't feel like it was anything wrong with being completely naked and transparent with each other. And so they happened to find that, hey, we have a wonderful connection with each other. And so what I want to do, and what I need to ask you guys to agree to, is that I would love to get the men and the women in the room together. And so I'm going to ask if you guys would think about coming back and talking with me again in the very near future with the women in the room, and we can have maybe a kind of a different type of discussion, but maybe somewhat the same. Would you guys do that?
Be glad to.
I'll be glad to.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right, so before we go, the Bible in Corinthians and what it says about love, how it defines love. Have any of you ever loved in the way that love is defined?
I think we all probably have. The Apostle Paul is very succinct, well, and wordy at the same time about what he says about what love is, but he ends up by saying that love never fails. Love always perseveres.
Yes.
Love never fails.
Yes.
It's kind. It's giving. It holds. The part that I think women don't get to is it keeps no record of wrongs. Now,
Love it.
I truly believe that women. I believe that women keep records of wrongs, because I know that things I've forgotten a long time ago can be thrown.
That book out.
Yeah, that can throw that. You remember when you did so and so. So, but Paul's intention in that scripture was to hold up the fact that if we believe in God, then we believe in love, because God is love. So he was not necessarily telling us who we were unless we are in God. If you're in God, you're that love. But if you're not in God, then that may not be all the things that you're made of when you say love. You know, because when we say I love you, what we're saying is I got you.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what. If God is love, and you believe that, and I do, then I'm placing my love for you with my love of God. And Paul is relating that in Corinthians when he describes love with all those wonderful terms.
Okay.
I take it from this perspective. I still think by definition we confuse it. I think you learn to love growing up. And I think unless you are able to get that kind of understanding about love, you never really show it to another person. Growing up, it wasn't and I'm old enough, the parents didn't do a lot of hugging and kissing and showing of emotion.
You're correct.
Back then.
In fact, I think we taught.
Yeah, we have talked about
you and I being relatives, I think we taught our parents how to
hug.
say I love you,
Right.
and how to hug and show.
So
yes.
until you can fully get an understanding, there's no way I don't feel that you really do. Now there have been situations where, and I'm just very honest, where I thought I was in love. I really did. I was giving it 999%. But that ain't a lot of times what the other person who is in the relationship understands as love. I might have quit messing around for you, and then you don't even understand. I done give up all this life, threw away the book and everything, and you don't get it. And then for a man, you're like, what did I do that for? Now you go trying to find your pages again. So getting an understanding about that, I think is very important when it comes to saying I love you.
I've got to hear from you because of the facial expression.
Love only exists if you understand their languages, because everybody loves different. Like you said, sometimes you don't grow up with someone who loves in the household. So you have to understand their love language first and foremost. You have to understand your love language, because if you can't even teach them how to love you, how can they teach you how to love them? So I can't even teach you how to treat me. How am I going to, essentially treat you the way you want to be treated?
And I will forever believe that one of the biggest reasons why relationships fail is because people tend to think that what they see as love
Is the way it is.
is the way they should love the person they're with. They rarely take the time to say, you know what, let me figure out. I'm gonna start paying attention, and when I do this,
But you also
that's
With
love
that
for
being
him.
said, that's love, but that's also allowing that individual to be themselves.
To be an individual,
Not stifling them
and
for whatever reason.
You love them unconditionally.
If they feel like being goofy, you love them for that. If they
Yes.
want to be the serious individual, you love them for who they are.
Yes,
But with all that being said, it doesn't matter if you don't understand their love language.
you have to.
Because there's so many
understand the
different ways to love in an individual. Because you could get someone who loves getting gifts.
That's right.
And you can get the next woman who just loves to be smothered and doesn't
to
want
be
anything from you
affirmed
but your
and to
time.
yes, yeah. That's a great book to read, really.
So
yeah.
that's something I've learned, that love doesn't have just one way of dealing with it. It just
Yeah.
has a specific way of figuring out that
It's
specific
unique
individual.
to that person. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you. I had a ball.
It was a pleasure.
Y'all scared me a little bit, but I had a great time.
Fear is good.
Great
Fear
time.
is good.
And I'm looking forward to doing this
Conquer
again.
another wall.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for listening in to another edition of Doctor to Doctor. We'll see you next time on 94.7 FM.